maybe wine.
Yeah. I mean, you might prefer gin, whiskey, scotch. I don't know, but
If you're Scottish, then maybe you can have whiskey. But I say just wine, because wine is like blood or
I agree with you. Yeah.
life. So you can
I
have a bit
also
of
like
wine.
gin, like a lot.
So I don't drink anything else, because it's like, why would you? It's just ridiculous. And then again, you just smell it. I don't know how people drink it. It's like, if you smell whiskey, it smells like oil. Yeah.
Well, gin, it smells like a Christmas tree. It does. It smells like, because it's made out of a Christmas tree.
Oh.
But that's the only thing I really like.
Well,
except tequila.
Well, call me old-fashioned. Maybe I'm just too much into the Old Testament in that sense, or New Testament.
Well, usually it's considered that old-fashioned people drink whiskey, so you're more like
if you're
Scottish,
Scottish, that's older than this old-fashioned.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Where were we?
We were back in Richard II's England.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, that's called old-fashioned.
I just wanted to say that on this break, I thought that if you would look at this play, not as something very precise, but in a bigger picture, Henry is very limited in seeing things as they are. So he's very, how can I say, he's not that creative. He cannot see further than his nose. And Richard, he can see the full picture. So I just thought that it also describes two kind of people. And the first kind, they look at history as something very straightforward, just facts, nothing more. And there are other people like Richard who takes into account everything, the context, the history, the mentality, all these little things. And it's just off the topic.
Well, it's not off the topic. But then we have a tiny little problem, which is Henry is much more effective in this reality than Richard, because it's Henry who usurps the power in the end, who can overthrow Richard. Precisely because he is down to earth and this is earthly realm. So where's the golden measure? Maybe somewhere in between, or maybe you can't be in between truly, like you can't serve two masters. Maybe you just either you are down to earth and straightforward and practical, and then you have what you want, like the crown, or you forget all about the earthly affairs. Again, it doesn't mean you're not practical. You can be very practical, but you just don't care too much. So that's not your prime, not where your attention goes primarily. So when somebody happens to be more clever than you in the earthly affairs, then you just say, okay, that's fair enough, because why would you care? Then again, like we say, he fights for himself, not very successfully. Okay, so part of your cares you give me, your crown. Your cares set up, do not pluck my cares down. So again, the same image as in with the buckets. My care is loss of care, by old care done. Your care is gain of care, by new care won. The cares I give I have, though given away. They tend the crown, yet still with me they stay. Are you contented to resign the crown? Stop talking! Yeah. So what can we say about this bit? So, from Henry's point of view, the crown is just power, and that is absolutely good. He knows it's not easy, because, well, he knows it because he has to fight for it himself. He knows it's not that easy. But in general, he believes that obviously it's good for him to have the crown, otherwise why fight for it? While Richard again turns it the other side. He says, you want to have the crown? Do you know what you're asking for? Cares.
You know, Henry reminds me of that type of characters in medieval role, which are determined to have the power just to have the power. So they don't have anything else in their mind. They don't think why they need the power, why they need to be the king, why they need the crown. They just want it, and that's all.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's always like advisable to ask yourself, you want something, why? You want to get something, why? That's where it gets real. If there's no question of why, then it's mechanical, it's robotic. You tell a robot, a computer program, to do something, or a slave, and they don't ask why. A soldier doesn't ask why. He's told to do so, so he does it. While if you stop and say, why? That takes it to a completely new level. Because, well, there's a beautiful little piece by Douglas Adams where he looks at why, and he says, like, why is that only question to which we have no answer, because if somebody asks you when or who or what, then it's easy to answer it because it's factual. But if you say why, then you can't really have any sensible answer. So why cannot be explained by logic. It can only be felt by kind of intuition. And still we need to keep that question in our circle of consciousness. Because if you're doing it, then why? And not in the sense, what do I gain by it? Like, I want a crown, why? What do I gain by it? Maybe not gain, maybe something completely different. But why? Do you know why? Then it counts as a sentient being, as your sentient being. So maybe he just like, okay, I've been collecting my army here, I captured you, now just give me the crown. Why? What do you mean, why? You're not in the position to ask questions. No, but why? So, your cares set up, do not pluck my cares down. So, like, there's no correlation between your cares and my cares, because every person's cares are his, her own. Yeah? My care is loss of care by old care done. So he's like, okay, I'm upset, but I'm upset because I'm losing some of my old cares. Like being the king is a bit headache. Like somebody, Terence McKenna said, thinking that you own the world is a very big headache. And it's never true. Because lots of people think that they own the world. They don't have to be politicians or kings or bankers, it's just regular people. Lots of people think that they're in some way responsible for the whole of the universe. Or he's like, but it's a very big headache to think that you own the reality. Because you never really, well, you do in one sense. Obviously you affect reality by your thoughts, intentions, you change it, minutely every second. At the same time, you do it. Oh, magic door. Sergey, you have a magic door in there.
Gateway
Ah.
to a new reality.
Oh,
But
is it?
it's up there or down in the well. This I do not know.
Well, you should explore it and tell us if you can return. Maybe you can't.
Yeah, the magic door.
Well, anyway. Where were we?
We were talking about yes.
So, thinking that you're responsible,
Yeah.
thinking that you're responsible for the whole universe. On one hand, you are, and your bad word, bad thought, angry thought, intentionally bad thought here may destroy a galaxy somewhere other there. On one hand, on another hand, there's always that bigger power to which we all submit, unless we're idiots, complete idiots, or something that is just beyond us. In which sense, here, he's like, okay, if that is what's supposed to be, if I'm supposed to lose my crown, then at least I can do it with some dignity. Or maybe not dignity, but I choose how I react to it, because in the play with, again, David Tennant, they show him like he overacts it. He just like, oh, I bow before you, I'll kiss your feet. Is that what you want? So if they want to kind of put you down, then the least you can do is to exaggerate, and then what they thought was their victory would be yours, because you do it your way. Or they thought they will just kind of destroy you by making you resign, like, because, oh, you're losing your dignity if you resign, it's shameful, and then you'll be upset. But when he overacts, then it makes those people look stupid rather than him, because he plays a fool. And again, is it sincere? Is it intentional? You can read it either way. Because you can say, he does it intentionally, because by playing a fool, he makes them look fools. Like, tell me who is your enemy, and I'll tell you what kind of a person you are. You can kind of judge the person by the quality of his enemies. And if your enemy is a fool, then who are you? At the same time, you may say, oh no, he's just completely broken. He went a bit bonkers because he used to be a king. He knows no other life, and now he's losing all of that, so he's a bit crazy. So it's a very subtle position, very subtle play. How do we see it? How do we participate in it? Is a big question, and it's an important question, because that's how we react to it with King Richard. So on one hand, he has to say what he has to say, and he has to do it in earnest, because otherwise it doesn't work, because he is the king. You can't just stop being a king. At the same time, he can do it in such a foolish way that it can be later questioned. Like, can you really count him resigning if he did it in such a way? Playing a complete idiot. Can you really count for it? So, he says then this amazing monologue on how he gives away his power. And maybe it's a point which everybody should go through, because there's always some kind of power that we like having. It may be a power of just like being a boss somewhere. It might be the power of having a skill. So it's like, oh, I'm better than you because I know 10 languages and you don't, or I'm better than you because I can do 100 push-ups in a minute. You can't. So it can be any sort of power. And if we grow too attached to it, it's same as growing too attached to things. Because power, in a sense, is a thing. Not different from like a phone or laptop. So if you can't throw your phone away, you're in a bit of a problem. But if you can't throw your power away, then you're in grave danger, really. So I believe that maybe this situation we are in now is just a part of such training, because we have our power of freedom, we have our power of going out and walking about. Yeah. So for now we're kind of practicing to let go of that power. How do you feel about it? And lots of people start like rebelling and say, no, we don't want no isolation. We don't want no isolation. But again, like I say, the word quarantine comes from the Bible, and it does come from the idea of purification, of isolation, of meeting your temptation. So just pray it would be 40 days and not 40 years, which it might be. Where would we be in 40 years? So much poetry. Okay, so how did we get here? So
well, you can get it to somebody who was down.
Yeah. So we may look at it in a biblical sense, in the sense of giving away our power and see what happens, because it can be the power of having a good job and then suddenly you have no job. For instance, you have, maybe it's not about being paid, but maybe it's just an interesting job, an interesting project, right? And then suddenly you don't have it. And then how do you feel about that? So again, if we kind of lose our power, we don't really lose it because we never had it in the first place. Like you never have your things in the first place, and you're lucky if things don't have you in the first place. That's a big difference. So how do you react to it? How do you feel about it? Is really showing who you are, what you're made of. Are you a king or are you a villain? So let's see. So are you contented to resign the crown? Hi? No. No. Hi? So he says yes, no, yes. So his answer is what? So do you want or do you not want to give me your crown? Stop talking, you blabbermouth. And he says yes, no, yes.
For I must nothing.
Yeah. So his first answer is yes, I. Then he says no. He says yes, I want to resign. But no, I don't want to resign. I don't know. I'm somewhere in between. But then no, I. Again, you can understand it in different ways. Like he says no, I don't want to, or like no, I don't mean no, I mean yes. So again, Henry just wants a straightforward answer, but there's no straightforward answer in King Richard's reality. It's always kind of, I don't want to say dualistic, because it's not really dualistic. Controversial, or let's say quantum, like you have two particles which coexist together. Same as he says, there are two buckets, but you can only see one bucket at a time. He is saying yes and no, but you can't have yes and no at the same time. So, and he says I, not yes. Why?
Because it rhymes with I.
Yeah, so on one hand it's just a nice word for yes. It's like sounds better, it's more melodic. I. It's like if you don't know what to answer and you start yeah. I tell you, you should use I more often when you want to say yes. I is a good word. At the same time, it's like if you're watching it, if you're not reading it, and he says I, then it might not be obvious whether he means I like me or I like yes. Yeah?
I know. No, I.
And again, know is like knowing. Okay, know. So I know or I know. Yeah, so I've contended. I know. Obviously, again, it depends on how you say it, how you show it, but it's in there. So, me, you, yes, no. For I must nothing be. Therefore, no, for I resign to thee. It's like, what's going on here? What's happening to him? Does he understand what he is saying, or is he confused? Or is he not confused?
I think he's not confused, but still he, how can I say, he has mixed feelings, and he feels, well, he knows he's trapped, he knows he's imprisoned, and he knows that there is no physical way out of this situation. So maybe in a moral sense he's strong, but in a physical way he simply cannot be strong. So I think even though he has a character, quite strong character, he still not upset, but he's still very devastated and a little bit confused. Not in the sense that he doesn't know what to do, but in the sense of his feelings. It's very,
Yeah, and again, this loss of what we tend to call status is not an easy matter. And when you stop being a king, well, when you lose your job, you stop being someone, maybe a manager. But there are lots and lots of other managers. When you lose your job as a king, you must be nothing, as Richard says. So it's complete humiliation, and it's self-inflicted humiliation. Is he ready for that? Is anyone ready for that? To say, I must nothing be.
So what about these I must nothing be? Who says it? Why? It kind of reminds me of John Donne a little bit, something metaphysical about it. For I must nothing be, therefore no, for I resign to thee. So he says, if you destroy me, if I am to be destroyed, then I am to be destroyed completely. Otherwise it makes no sense, no half measures. Same as in like faith, in true faith. No half measures. Either you follow whatever your discipline is to the end, or you don't follow it at all. So that's the point which defines all your way. Either you go past it and you accept it and you explore it and you take it fully, or you don't go there at all, since he can't not go there at all because it's already happening. Then his obvious decision here is to take it all not just to be unkinged, as he says, but to be turned into nothing. I must nothing be, otherwise it makes no sense.
And maybe if I do move forward, if I do resign, I must be nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I only do this thing, which is a criminal thing to do, which is a stupid thing to do, if I am nothing, which I am not.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it shows the inner struggle he has, being insisting on his right to the crown and fighting to the very end.
Okay.
Resisting temptation to give things up.
So a little bit. It's not his right to the crown as such. It's not a right. As he says, "My crown I am." It's not his right. It's what and who he is. Like it's not your right to be human. You are human. It's not his right to be the king. He is the king. That's again, I guess, the difference between how we understand it today and how it was originally understood. If you're a king, it's not something that is your right. It's your state. It's your being. And that's what he says. So if his crown is taken away from him, not the crown as a physical object, but the state, then what is left of him? Nothing, because that's what he is. My crown I am. Not I am my crown, but my crown I am. Yeah?
Okay.
So I must nothing be. Therefore, no, for I resign to thee. Now mark me, how I will undo myself. Again, you can't do it. Only I can. Nobody can unking you, only you can. And if that is your choice, if that's what you do, then instead of robbing you of power, it gives you power which is bigger than before. Because you do need bigger power to unpower yourself of the old power. Yeah? So to unking yourself, you need to be more than a king. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So mark me how I will undo myself. So I'm not begging. I'm not getting angry. If I do what I have to do, I do it with dignity. Or I do it my way, at least. I give this heavy weight from off my head and this unwieldy scepter from my hand. So even as he starts, I guess you can already see and feel it. What is it he doing? What is he doing? I give this heavy weight from off my head. What is he saying?
Well, he's saying that being a king, wearing a crown, it's very hard, and it's like you have the weight of the whole world on your shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's giving it away to his cousin.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
But his cousin doesn't really understand what he's receiving with the crown itself.
Mm-hmm. So the heavy weight could be literally the crown, because it's made of gold. It's heavy, made of gold, heavy. But at the same time, when he says heavy weight, obviously it's not just the physical metal from over your head. Your thoughts, your cares, your grief, all of that.
Yeah, like remember Atlantis in Greek mythology, who's holding the sky.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you want to have it? Okay, you have it. This unwieldy scepter from my hand. Unwieldy. Why unwieldy?
don't remember the symbolism of the scripture, but if I'm correct, or I am correct, there are three main symbols of power.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the crown itself, it's the scripture, and it's the sphere in your hand,
Yeah.
like this circle. So
The sphere is like the world.
yes, and so the scripture, it means, well, if you look at it, it doesn't have a lot of sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really know what to do with it. So you have it, it's beautiful. The crown can be
Crown is easy. Crown is easy because it's not a decoration, it's a halo. It's like a holy light around your head because you're a god or a god.
Yeah, and scripture, well, it's not necessary. You don't necessarily need to have it. You don't have to walk with it in your hand. So it's a little bit. I think he's kind of making fun on this symbol of power. So you can have it, but what are you gonna do with it?
Okay, so
you know what to do with it.
Symbols of monarchy: the orb and the sceptre. A true skill. That's okay. So obviously, on one hand, the orb and the sceptre are like 0 and 1, feminine and masculine. You may look at it in that way. Then again, it's very old symbols. I guess you can check them really all way back. Like you can recall the Egyptians using similar symbols. There's something about the Etruscan civilization which nobody really knows anything about, so maybe. But still, he doesn't have an orb. Okay, used by generals, like the marshal's baton. Symbol of authority. Well, anyway, it's like a symbol of authority, which is easily recognized. But unwieldy, like you think it's nice, but you need to learn to control it. It's a bit awkward. Sergey, are you with us? You're a bit frozen.
Yes, I am. I'm just trying to remember things about scepter and all the other, and I don't remember anything. That's why
I remember that the orb is like supposed to be the world, like the sphere. But maybe it comes back to something early, like I say. I suspect that it might have to do with like male and female power or something like that. Or there are people who would tell you that scripture has to do with weaponry, and it's like maybe electricity or something that can kill you if you direct it, or like a magic stuff. It could be related to that as well.
I also read that there is one version that it represents the scripture of the shepherd, who controls the sheep. So maybe it also a symbol of controlling people.
Maybe. I'm not sure about it, because it doesn't necessarily come from places where people were into, sheep. Oh, Sergey, you're still frozen.
I'm still frozen, okay.
I just see your face, it doesn't move at all. Are you stuck in somewhere?
There's something. They say nothing. I must nothing be.
Okay, maybe nothing, if you like.
But a frozen face is not something that I want to be. Shall I?
Yeah, maybe you just log out and in again.
Again. Is it? Yeah. Just give me a minute.
Yeah,
okay?
It's not a minute, it's 5 seconds.
5 seconds.
Okay, just do it. Just do it. Oh, hello, Margot. Nice to see you. Oh, yeah. How's it doing? I don't know that.
Oh, I'm still here. Hi. I'm still here. I can listen to you.
Yeah, but I can't see you.
You can imagine me.
So when Sergey logs out, it's just like my picture coming in full screen because there's no other picture.
I have to say that today your picture and Sergey's picture, they're quite good. Like previous times, they were a little bit bad, a bit noisy, but today the quality is really good.
Oh, that's good. Good news. That's because Shaky is with us.
Of course.
Okay, now we can hear Sergey, but we can't see him.
You can't see me again.
Well, how about turning on your camera? That might help.
But it's turned on, and it even asks me to choose my background effect.
Well, in that case, you went through the portal, and now you're a happy pulsing orb, which is good. We need to go kind of plasmic at some time of our career.
Okay, now I switch it off. I'm switching it on now. Can you see me?
Hello, hi.
Oh, no, I still see the orb. Well, it doesn't really...
It's
okay.
too bad.
Well, anyway, we can hear you. Whew. Okay, so he gives his heavy weight from off his head and the awkward, unwieldy scepter from his hand. So head and hand, it's like we think, we do. It belongs to the active reality of doing, of physicality, thingity, and he can give it away easily. The pride of kingly sway from out my heart. Now we go to something less obvious, and again, did Henry ask for that?
No.
No, so when he says, give me the crown, he just resign the crown, he just means the crown. But for Richard, obviously, being a king is more than having a crown, and he, if he has to do it, he has to do it completely, and it involves all these different aspects, apart from the apparent, obvious ones. So a part of being a king is a pride of being king, which is like in a positive sense. The pride of kingly sway from out my heart. So what is he doing? He's cleaning himself. He's releasing himself on all levels, which is what you must do. Because if you only release yourself on one level, no matter which level, but you keep other levels, then you're half done. You're neither here nor there. Yeah, you haven't made the transgression. Only when you clean yourself completely, then you can continue, or you'll be stuck. Your one foot is here, the other foot is there. You can't move. So when he does it fully. So head and hand are obvious points, but now we have heart.
But is it something a human being can do, even though you might be a king? Is it something that you can do at your own will?
Of course you can, because if that is your intention, you state it from your position of power, like a king or more than a king, then you can do it. You can do anything, because you state your intention clearly. It's like, you may say it's a bit like a magic spell when your words become what you say, because there is intention. So in some sense you may say that it's like before the fall, that's what people did all the time. You say something and your word has power. Now when we are in this reality, I don't know, maybe we still have some of that power. Some people think we have no power of that kind anymore at all, but I believe if you have your intention, then your words do have power. It's just that before the fall, every word had power, but then again, people were more aware of the words because they knew the words were important. And now you need a special, maybe you can say training, special state of mind, of attention to make your words work. Again, it's like in the Bible, what Jesus says: if you have a point of attention, faith the size of a mustard seed, then your word becomes true. Yeah. So Jesus himself said that we still have that power, but it's not easy to practice. So yes, he can do it if he really means it, and he really means it because he has no other choice. The pride of kingly sway from out my heart. So that's the first part. Head, hand, heart. Again, three. Maybe like mind and body and soul, spirit. So head is like mind, and hand is like body, and heart is like spirit. Yeah. So he cleans these three levels. Yeah. Thinking, doing, and like feeling, meaning. Head, hand, heart, and they all like ha, ha, ha. Yeah. They sound alike too. Head, hand, heart. So they're all connected. Then he says, comments? Anything?
I agree.
Okay. That's a good comment. Then we have the next bit. With mine own tears, I wash away my balm. With mine own hands, I give away my crown. With my own tongue, deny my sacred state. With mine own breath, release all duty's rights.
So is it doing it on various levels?
Mm-hmm. So again, being a king is more than just having a crown. So, and the way he puts it in words is a little bit like a spell, because he's repeating the same formula. Yeah. The first bit he repeats the formula: I give that away from out my head, my heart. Yeah. The second bit again he repeats a formula: mine own, with mine own, with mine own, I give away, I wash away, I deny, I release. Ooh. So with mine own tears, I wash away my balm. So again, the idea of tears, something we start with, like I'm full of tears, and with my own tears, I wash away my balm. So what is it? What is it?
Well, balm has healing powers, or so they say. It can heal wounds, it can reduce pain, and if I'm washing it out, then I want to feel that pain. I don't want my wounds to close.
Okay, that's one way. What's the other way? What's a balm? Balm is what you need to be a king. Is when they crown you.
Yes.
They use a balm. So it's what makes you a king officially. Because it connects you before the eyes of God, and not just man. Yeah, you're anointed. And he says, now this is the holy part of kingship. That's the connection between me and God, which makes me a king. But I wash it away with my tears. Or what kind of tears? Angry tears, happy tears, sad tears?
Sad tears.
Okay. So tears are important. Why? So we have tears again in religion and Christianity, and they're important.
But don't they?
Hmm?
They have a purifying effect, don't they?
Yeah. Because it's like water, and water purifies you, and it's water which comes from within you. It purifies you indeed. So you can have tears of like self-pity. Oh, I'm so unhappy. Oh, so all sorts of unfair things happen to me. Oh no. Or it can be true tears, the one they talk in like Christianity, when you're not crying out of self-pity, but because you really, really mean it. So, and with mine on tears, I wash away my bomb. So tears are, again, more important and stronger than bomb, even. With my own hands, I give away my crown. So we had it before. So he repeats it because he needs to put it into this formula, apparently. Because when he says, I give this heavy weight from off my head, it's not really the crown, so he needs to repeat it with the word crown to make it work. With my own hands I give away my crown. So hands again doing, and crown belonging to the world of objects. With my own tongue deny my sacred state. So sacred state is connected with a word, like in the beginning there was word, and it's his word which can deny his sacred state. Again, being a king is a sacred state, it's not just having a crown. And he kind of reminds Henry about it, not that he pays attention. With mine own breath, release all duties rights. And breath again is important, it's like spirit. Okay, comments?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's so beautiful and so, like, at the same time simple but still complicated that he uses with my own all the time. It really gives you the mood that he's in his mind. He's not crazy. He's not mad. He gets everything perfectly, and he's it's not like Hamlet. So he doesn't go crazy. He's perfectly in his mind. He understands everything, and his decisions are his.
And again, it's like, it's not you taking it away from me. Only I can do it. And I do it.
Because I'm the king.
Okay. All pomp and majesty I do forswear. My manners, rents, revenues I forego. My acts, decrees, and statutes I deny. So it's...
just getting rid of all these symbols. It's saying, no, it's no longer true. Whatever laws I might have enacted, whatever decrees I might have passed, they are nullified. They no longer hold true. And this is sort of the process of complete, because as far as I understand, normally when the head of the state resigns, previous decrees do not automatically lose power. Unless the new ruler chooses to modify them.
Yeah, because it's like they're sacred. You can't just cancel them because the king is different.
I think it's very beautiful that he says, "I deny my statues," because if you're a king and they make a statue for you, it means that they immortalize you. So now you're kind of immortal. You are in history, and he's denying his presence in history, meaning he's erasing himself.
It's not statue, it's statutes, like laws.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I misread it.
Yeah. And there's no mistake because he says acts, decrees, and statutes. So it's like three of the same kind. Well, yeah, it's when he says all pomp and majesty I do forswear, then you're right. So let's turn into like more practical side. And what he does here is he's using plural words, which are themselves plural and amplified because he uses them in threes, like manners, rents, revenues. They're more or less the same if you look at the meaning, but and all in plural form. And acts, decrees, and statutes, again more or less the same things. He uses three words for each, and each is plural. So before that we had only singular forms, and now he shows us that he has a lot. He only mentions a few examples, but it gives us the sensation that he actually has a lot. It's not just one little crown, it's all that he has. Manners, rents, revenues, acts, decrees, statutes, and he can let go of all of it, all pomp and majesty. And then he turns to God. He kind of thinks of God from the beginning, and when he speaks about Balm and sacred state, obviously he thinks about God. And again, he reminds him that being a king is something that is up to God. God decides who is to be a king. Then again, in an ideal society, if it's an ideal like Christian society or let's say Abrahamic society, there is no king because there is a God. God is your king. But then people decided that they wanted to have an earthly king. Okay, you can have an earthly king. He'll never be as good as your real king, but still, your earthly king represents God by like proxy. And you, Henry, are about to usurp that power. Do you understand what you're doing? Maybe not really. God pardon all oaths that are broke to me. God keep all vows unbroke that swear to thee.
And again, it gets more and more violent. He begins by using words like forswear, which is probably quite forceful, forego, then stronger, deny. And it's even stronger, break. And again, he shows clearly, his words show clearly that he and maybe Henry as well consider these acts to be really unforgivable acts. And it's only God who can pardon all oaths that were broken.
And who does he really mean when he said, God pardon all oaths that are broke to me? He really means Henry, because obviously King Richard is his king, and Henry had to have sworn loyalty at some point to him. And now he breaks that oath of loyalty, right? And he's like, God pardon, but it's something that, well, God can pardon it, but if you personally are asking for it, God doesn't pardon your sin because somebody else is asking for it. Well, in Christianity, it might work that way, but you need to be sorry yourself to be forgiven. That's the whole idea of Christianity. Yeah. And it's on one hand he doesn't say it straightforwardly, like you broke an oath you gave me of loyalty, and you gave it before God. So just be aware of that. So he says it a bit like a hidden message. And again, does Henry hear it? Does Henry understand it?
Probably not.
Probably not. God keep all vows unbroke that swear to thee. And again, you may say like, but there's the connection. The same as you can swear and then break it, then, somebody can do the same to you. And again, God keep all vows unbroke that swear to thee. They're not automatically holy, because you're not a king, will never be a king before God. So you don't have that kind of protection. So if somebody swears loyalty to me, then it's lawful before God because I'm the king. If somebody swears loyalty to you, then it's only if you ask God to keep it unbroken specifically. Because otherwise it's like swearing to anyone else. It's just the power of the oath itself, and not because it's made to a real king. God keep all vows unbroke that swear to thee. And again, like you say, it gets more aggressive. We have exclamations now, and a lot of them. Because he starts more or less calm, and now it gets more and more agitated. Okay?
Well, even on a very practical level, and we say that Henry is very practical, he thinks he is very practical, it's not something that many members of the nobility class are accustomed to do. It was the same situation as everyone remembers in Russia on the 14th of December 1825. I remember it very well. I was around.
Yeah.
And swearing legs to Constantine and then changing things and saying, okay, now we are going to be true and loyal to Nicholas I, was something which people don't usually do, which people didn't usually do, something which was not really good, and created a situation that was that could be exploited from various angles. So here, both ethical level, probably a bit above Henry's understanding, and on a very practical level, he shows, do not do to your neighbor what you don't want to be done to you.
Yeah. Okay. Then, make me that nothing have is nothing grieved, and thou with all pleased that hast all achieved. So again, two buckets. One has nothing, including no care. So if he says, nothing have, nothing grieved, thou with all pleased, that hast all achieved, but all includes like all, including grief and care. Yeah? So if you have all, then you have all that is good and all that is bad. You can't just have a half of it. At the same time, you may say that he's just speaking because he's a bit upset and angry, and he just means the opposite. Like, thou with all pleased that has all achieved, but he really means the opposite. Long mayst thou live in Richard's seat to sit, and soon lie Richard in an earthly pit. Again, it's not as simple as it may seem to be to Henry. Can you tell me what's the trick here?
repeats that he uses the same word first as a noun and then as a verb, eat and sing. And reminding that it's Richard's seat, he thinks of himself in the third person.
Yeah, why?
I'm not because I'm angry at you or because I feel annoyed or sad.
Or because he doesn't exist anymore. He must nothing be. Yeah, he must nothing be.
Yes.
So there is no I anymore. Just Richard. Not King Richard, just Richard. It's not me because I do not exist anymore. I have just given myself away. Yeah? I have just nullified myself. Now I is there no more. So I cannot say I. I can only say Richard because there's no I, no me.
And this Richard can be reduced to a borderline in an earthly pit.
So, long mayst thou live in Richard's seat to sit, and soon lie Richard in an earthly pit. So, what is Richard's seat, and can you sit in that seat for long? Can you live in it for long if Richard's seat is now an earthly pit?
Well,
I think it's not only about the... Oh, sorry.
It's fine. Go on. Go ahead.
Okay, I just think that if previous lines about King Richard were about Richard, this time he mostly talks about the whole process. So he was the king by his birth. He is the king. He will be still the king. But Henry, he let's say defeated the king, and what the guarantee is that he won't be defeated in a year or so, just as Richard was. Because if you gained a power by violence, well, Shakespeare, he has amazing phrase. I really love it. Just wait 1 second. I will find it because I think it beautifully describes a lot of his plays.
So basically, if you get Richard's seat, then it's a cursed seat because you yourself cursed it. Now you have it. It's same like, I don't know, Snape in Harry Potter, who finally got to be the dark arts defense teacher. And
I found it. Yeah, so it says, these violent delights have violent ends.
Well, yeah, true.
Yeah, so the Henry, he gained the power by violence, so he will be replied with violence. If not from Richard, he will have this answer from somebody else.
Yeah. So, and again he says, it's like logic, A, B, and the conclusion C. So we have A, you live in Richard's seat. B, Richard will be soon in an earthly pit. So the conclusion is Richard's seat is an earthly pit. And that's where he sends him, basically. Because logic was like a common thing in Shakespearean times, and he used it all the time. It's like was taught at school, and you find it in his sonnets and everywhere. This form like A and B, and the conclusion, which is sometimes implied, like I guess here. Okay. Or again, you can say that he's just upset and he just speaks. Oh. God save King Harry, and King Richard says, and send him many years of sunshine days.
Why King Harry?
Harry, because that would be his throne name. He can't be Henry. Yeah, so Harry. So he's Henry the Fourth, like Henry, Harry, are the same.
Okay.
But again, of course, yes, Harry is like not a very kingly name in here. He should be like Henry, Henrich. And King Richard says. So again, God save King Harry. So he's not really the king. So God save him. Not in the sense like we say God save the king, because it's the king, but God save King Harry, because he's not really king and he will need all God's help and support to answer. Unkinged, Richard says. Again, unkinged. Another reminder that what have you done? You unkinged a king. You're not supposed to do it. Yeah? And sent him many years of sunshine days. Again, a bit funny. Sent him years of days.
Oh, yeah.
So, maybe, what is it? What is it? Sent him years or sent him days? Your years will be only lasting for days before you die. And then...
Regrets.
And then like, what more remains? And that last bit again can be read really differently. Like, what more remains of me? Or what more remains of, what else do I need to do? Which is what he says, like, okay, I made myself miserable in front of you. What else do you want from me? What more remains? Or what more remains of me that I could give away? Yeah. Okay, now let's see if we can share the screen. Is there share screen somewhere? How
Yes.
do you do it? How do you do it? Because when I click on it, occasionally it just tells me, oh, share your screen. Oh, here it is. Where is it? Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah, we can see.
Now, can you hear it? Now, can you... Let's see if you can hear it. If it...
No, we can't hear it, but I think there should be some kind of button so you can, turn on the sound.
Okay, let's do it again. Okay, that should do the trick. How do you do it? How do you manage it? How do you do? Sound here is on. Ridiculous. Skype, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm just gonna Google it, maybe I can find something.
Okay. I just clicked on like access sound. Maybe you can do it.
Okay, so it seems like you should
Well, I click on like share the screen and share the sound.
Wait. Yeah, you should click share the sound and it should work well, theoretically.
Yeah, theoretically, but it doesn't really do it. Okay, let's try again.
You can still send us the link and we can watch it.
Well, Sergey can't watch it because he's not on contacts, eh?
Let me try and click on the link one more time, because I just closed it for technical reasons. Maybe it can be reproduced, maybe it can't.
It's really a bit funny. What is he doing? What is he doing here?
I think it's about where the sound is directed to.
Okay. Let's do it again. Show the screen. No. It's a bit stupid, isn't it?
Oh yes, it is.
Oh, I can hear something. Can you hear it?
Yes. Yes. Can you make it louder a little bit?
I don't know, it's full. Maybe if
okay,
you mute
okay.
it, if you mute your mics, maybe.
Yeah, that's fine.
If you mute your mics, maybe. If you mute your mics, maybe.